like to start with what I know and then work towards what I don't know. I wanted to take the formality of the house and the informality of the woods and kind of make the two combine. I'd like to show you how not to mulch around a tree. It's a step that I see very few landscapers doing. You want to make sure to have variation in your heights. Look at how lovely this is. We just cued the butterfly to come in. How's it going today, guys? Today is December 2nd, and I am going to be doing a small planting job around my yard, and I thought you might enjoy just coming along for the ride and seeing what's involved in planting. And before we start planting, I just want to talk a little bit about planting during cool weather. You know, a lot of times people will ask me, is it okay to plant in the fall? And my answer is usually yes. The caveat there is I only like to plant in the fall if the plants have an established root system. So if you've got something that's B&B with a really good root system, I'm perfectly comfortable planting that in the fall, even as late as December 2nd. If you've got potted plants, go ahead and plant them. The caveat, though, is I do not like to transplant things this late in the fall. Up here in Connecticut, we have very cold winters. So if I was going to transplant something, I'd end up digging it out of the ground, cutting all its roots, and then putting it back in the ground. Then if the ground freezes, the plant's not going to have a lot of water in it, and it's not going to have a lot of roots to get more water. And what'll happen then is you can have plants that actually, if above ground gets above freezing, the plants will lose water. But if below ground the roots are still frozen, the water can't come to the top. I mean, that's always an issue, but if you've got even less roots, it's going to be more of an issue. So I do not like to transplant late winter, and I also do not like to plant arborvitae. You want to get your arborvitae in as early as possible in the fall. You do not want to wait till late in the fall or early winter. Arborvitae is one of those plants that just for me, it doesn't survive very well. My neighbors across the street, you know, last weekend I helped them plant some fruit trees, and maybe somebody can straighten me out. I didn't take courses in fruit tree management. They just got some bare root fruit trees and put them in a week ago, so that would have been the last week in November. Now to me, I'd rather have my bare root fruit trees come in early spring, so they're dug up coming out of winter. You cut their roots, you put them in the ground, the rainy season's coming and everything comes up. But the company that sent the trees sent them in the fall, so I'm assuming they know what they're doing, but it seemed a little bit weird to me. But anyways, let me show you what we're going to be doing today, and we'll just take this one as it comes. Just to prove that it truly is the Christmas season, just take a look here, and you can see that nice wreath on the front door, and there's my wife's Christmas decorations there with my big pot to hold that Christmas tree off the ground. And the reason the lights are on is I don't leave them on all day. I needed some light for the camera and for the lighting, so I just used the extension cord from the Christmas lights. We had our roof redone about a year ago, and when the roofer redid the roof, he put these downspout extensions on. And the reason he did that, which made a lot of sense, was to keep the water away from the house. Now the downspout extensions actually extend into the lawn. So what I ended up doing was at some point last year, I was at one of my supply yards, and I came back with these two bluestone stones to use as splash blocks for my downspouts. When I design landscapes, I try to make them as easy to maintain as possible. And this corner is always tough because it's a 90-degree corner. When you come through with the mower, you got to kind of go in and then back up, and you can kind of see where it's worn out there. So my thought is what I'd like to do is go ahead and I'm not sure which way I'm going to go yet. I might turn these splash blocks so the long way is pointing out, and then I'm going to make this bed the same depth as the splash blocks. And then I've got these Montauk daisies here, which I picked up about a month ago, and I wish I got them in the ground sooner, but they should be okay. The reason that the foliage is dying back there is just because it got hit by the frost, but I'm pretty sure the plants are still alive. So I want to plant these Montauk daisies a little farther out. And then what I'd like to do is change my bed line a bit. So my bed line is going to come off this bed and swing over and swing out, you know, again, about a foot, foot and a half in front of this bed. So it'll be much easier to bring the mower through. Now over here, I think what I'm going to end up doing, and I'm pretty much guaranteed these splash blocks are going to come point straight out, is what I'll do is I will, because there's a walkway here, we have, I don't know why, it's an older home I live in, there's two front doors. There's a door there and there's a door there. But I don't want to block up the access to this doorway here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the splash block out, and I will use that as the end of the bed, and then we'll probably just have a 90-degree corner on this bed. Although in a perfect world, I'd love to, I would love to just extend this bed farther, and maybe that'll be a project for another time. But at least for now, we can clean up this bed line a little bit, and then, you know, there'll be less to weed whack around the splash blocks. As long as we're here, let me just show you this. If you guys have a minute, I was at the nursery this spring, and I picked up these Calycanthus routstani Hartage wine. Now, Calycanthus is a plant that grows along the edge of the water around here. I don't think I've ever seen it growing along the edge of the water around here, but I'm told that's where it lives. I was at the nursery this spring, and Calycanthus usually has white flowers about this big. They're kind of cool. And I was at the nursery this spring, and I saw these guys in bloom, and I just had to pick them up because it was such an awesome flower. I did not take any pictures of those flowers in bloom, but Google Calycanthus routstani Hartage wine, and it is just the coolest flower. Now, normally in the front of the house, I'd be doing something evergreen, whether it was a boxwood or maybe some mountain laurel with the older home, some Ilex glabra, which I can't think of the common name right now, but I had the bed prepared, so I stuck them in, and here's where they're going to stay. But really cool plant. Check that out. So let me go grab a wheelbarrow and some tools, and we'll see if we can slap this bed together before it gets too cold. One thing I like to do if I'm working, cutting back perennials, or I'm going to be kneeling, is I'll just put a knee pad on one of my knees. Keeps the pants clean and dry. It's really annoying to have a wet knee the whole day. Grab the marking paint. Marking paint gun.